Sometimes you hear a riddle that just seems completely impossible. Well, today we're going to dive into a real-life cosmic paradox, and it's all about the legendary Voyager spacecraft. It's a story that kicks off with a simple, really strange observation, but believe me, it ends up showing us a fundamental pattern that seems to be woven right into the fabric of the universe. So here's the puzzle. The Voyager probes are on a one-way ticket out of our solar system. They're screaming along at thousands of miles per hour, and they are never coming back. And yet, for a few months, every single year, the data shows they are actually getting closer to Earth. How in the world is that possible? It sounds like it completely breaks the laws of physics, but the answer is so much more elegant. And just to set the stage here, these amazing spacecraft have been traveling for almost half a century. They launched way back in 1977, they did these incredible flybys of the gas giants in the 80s, and by 2012, Voyager 1 had officially punched right through into interstellar space. Their journey is just this constant, relentless push away from us, on a permanent escape trajectory. No brakes, no U-turns, ever. So how do we solve this thing? Well, the answer isn't some brand new exotic science. It's actually a beautiful, beautiful demonstration of classical physics, just a cosmic trick of motion and perspective that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Okay, the heart of the solution lies in a cosmic race we don't really think about. Voyager is moving incredibly fast, right? About 17 kilometers every single second. But here's the kicker. Earth, in its orbit around the sun, is moving at a blistering 30 kilometers per second. That's nearly double Voyager's speed. We are literally lapping the most distant human-made object in a cosmic race, and that speed difference, that changes everything. I want you to picture Voyager on a straight exit ramp off a huge circular highway. And Earth, we're a race car on that highway. So for part of each lap we take, we're heading in the same general direction as Voyager. And because we're going so much faster, we actually close the gap for a little while. Then, as we continue our turn on the highway, we start moving away from it again. The most important point here is, Voyager's path never changes. It's our motion that creates this whole illusion. In physics, this phenomenon has a name. It's called a projection effect. It's an apparent change that's caused entirely by the observer's point of view. So the distance between us and Voyager isn't actually shrinking in some absolute sense. It just looks that way from our fast-moving orbiting platform we call Earth. It really proves that distance isn't some absolute thing, but a function of relative motion. Okay, so we solved the riddle. Case closed, right? Well, this is where the story gets truly fascinating, because this isn't just some quirky little fact about orbital mechanics. This whole interaction, this projection effect, it actually reveals a much deeper, more fundamental pattern. It's a chance to see if this very specific solution is actually an example of a kind of universal grammar for how all systems interact. So if we break it down, what we're really seeing are two fundamentally different types of processes at play. You've got Voyager, which represents a linear, one-directional escape. It's a journey that never repeats itself. And then you have Earth, which represents a cyclic, repeating motion, a stable loop that brings it right back to its starting point year after year. And this, right here, is the universal principle. Whenever you have a linear, one-way process interacting with a stable, cyclic process, the result is always going to be an oscillation. You will always see these moments of apparent convergence, of what looks like a return, even when the underlying reality is a journey of permanent separation. Now, if this really is a universal grammar, then what are its parts? You can think of it like the fundamental rules of a language. There's a theoretical framework that tries to describe these rules, called the dual caustic universe model, and it suggests there's a core engine made of 3 parts, which it calls the 237, that describes exactly this kind of interaction. The first part of this engine is 2, or Razim. This represents that initial act of separation, the split. In our story, this is Voyager's launch. It's the moment the spacecraft decoupled from our solar system and began its one-way journey, creating that ever-increasing distance. Next up is 3, or Rahim. This is all about the formation of a stable, repeating structure. And you know where this is going? This is Earth's orbit. It's a self-contained cyclical system that acts as a buffer, constantly moving but always coming back to form a stable pattern. And finally, you have 7, or Rahman. This describes coupling, that temporary phase of alignment. It's not a physical return trip, but a geometric convergence. It's that moment each year when Earth's motion lines up just right with Voyager's path, producing that temporary, apparent getting closer effect. So, now we have the real-world physics of the Voyager paradox on one hand, and this abstract 237 framework on the other. Let's put them side by side and just see how perfectly they mirror each other. And there it is. The mapping is a direct, one-to-one correspondence. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. Voyager's one-way escape, that's the 2, the split. Earth's stable looping orbit, that's the 3, the formation. And that temporary decrease in distance we see, that's the 7, the geometric coupling. It's the exact same 3-step process, just described by 2 different languages, the language of physics and the structural language of patterns. The source material really just nails the essence of this idea. It says what we perceive isn't always the underlying reality. Phases of what looks like a return can emerge from a process that is in fact only ever moving away. It all just depends on your perspective. So let's step back and look at the big picture here. What's the really profound takeaway from this incredible cosmic dance between a tiny spacecraft and our little blue planet? Well, for one, it shows that our reality is fundamentally shaped by our frame of reference. What looks like a reversal might just be an illusion created by our own motion. It also shows us that these incredibly complex, even paradoxical patterns can pop up from the simple interaction between a straight line and a circle, a linear process and a cyclic one. And what's so important is that this isn't about rewriting physics. It's about seeing a deeper, more elegant structure that was there all along. And all of this leads to a pretty powerful, unifying idea. The idea that maybe everything from the motion of planets to maybe the unfolding of reality itself operates on this single, simple engine. A split that creates difference, a formation that creates stability, and a repeating cycle that drives the universe forward. A simple pattern hiding right in the heart of a cosmic paradox.